and see all of you here. And I'm asked to talk about the Paramitas, 6 Paramitas, and especially on last one, Prajapati. So, generally, it is considered that the whole of 6 Paramitas is training, a practice to exercise or develop compassion and wisdom, in essence. And first 5 Paramitas, the Paramita of generosity, Paramita of, you can call it ethical conduct, Paramita of patience, Paramita of diligence or joyful effort, Paramita of meditation. All these 5 is regarded as mainly to develop compassion. Generally speaking, Buddha said that the main causes of suffering in the samsara is basically klesha and karma. And klesha actually means all the negative emotions, like hatred and anger, too much greed, and too much attachment, too much desire, that group. Then jealousy and envy and this kind of a group. And then too much arrogance, negative kind of pride, that group. All these are, and then ignorance, or not understanding, not seeing, not having insight in what is the nature of ourselves, and what's the nature of the whole phenomenon. So these 5 is regarded as the klesha. Klesha is a Sanskrit word, but there's no other word in English which will actually mean all these things. So this, and then the karma. Karma is if we react with these negative emotions and wrong way of saying things, then we create a negative karma. And that's how samsara is happening. Yeah, samsara. And therefore, all these problems and sufferings in the samsara is happening because of it. And this is not so difficult to understand also. Like, for instance, nowadays, you can see that lots of wars and all kinds of conflicts and, even like kind of spoiling all the environment and all these things are happening. And if you look why we are doing like that, it is doing by us. One time, long time before, one Irishman told me that he wanted to go and see the Dharma, the young Dharma, at that time he just came out of Tibet. And he told me that he wanted to go and see him. And then I told him that, yeah, if you want to go there, you can come with me because I'm going there after finishing my European program and go to Dharma Centre. So he came along with some other people. And then he asked, that time he was maybe only 15, 16. He asked him a question. I was translating. He said, what do you think about this, environment problem, this climate issues? And the Gamapa said, just he asked one question back. He said, does water pollute itself? And he was very impressed. He said, I want you to write a book. And he actually wrote a book. It's out. Very simple book. So this is how it is, the environment, any of these elements doesn't pollute itself. So we pollute it. So like all these conflicts, wars, all these sufferings, we are doing it ourselves. And why we are doing it? Because of our own hatred, anger, greed, and jealousy sometimes, misunderstanding sometimes, all these things together because of that reaction. And not only that, but even in ourselves, it's just an individual also. If I have any kind of disharmony in myself, unhappiness in myself, trouble in myself, I don't have peace in myself, it's because of these things. So therefore, if we need to transform our world, transform ourselves, we need to do something about it. And how do we do that? We need to try to lessen our negative emotions and reactions and negative tendencies. And then develop or increase our positive side. And the positive side, if you look, is only two. All these, most of these negative emotions, if you look, the positive side is compassion, like anger, hatred, all kind of negative emotions. What is the positive side? It's compassion. Compassion, kindness, love. And also too much greed, too much wanting, too much, kind of holding on to things. What is the opposite? Compassion. Greed is compassion is giving. And also envy, jealousy. The opposite is compassion. Envy and jealousy is like we feel very bad if somebody has something good. Opposite is if somebody has something good, you feel good, you feel joyful. So that's compassion. And also arrogance, that is that I look down, I separate people. So the opposite is compassion. I look at everybody same as myself, similar to myself. So all this, negative emotions, most of these negative emotions, the opposite is compassion. The ignorance or not understanding, then the opposite is wisdom. So therefore, and of course, the compassion comes also from wisdom. If we understand very clearly and deeply that it's not good to react with jealousy. We must agree and things like that. We really understand practically. That's wisdom. So therefore, if we have to lessen our negative emotions and negative, we need to develop these two main positive things, wisdom and compassion. So therefore, the 6 paramitas, most of this is to work on compassion, and the wisdom is to work on our ignorance, not knowing how the things are, not understanding deeply what is the nature of everything. What is it that I am? All these things is what wisdom, Paramita wisdom, is about. Now, Paramita, generally, we have compassion and Paramita. And then wisdom and Paramita. Paramita is quite a high level. Paramita means, in one way, the word Paramita, it's a Sanskrit word. Para means the other side. Mita means go other side, go beyond. That means, your generosity, this kind of patience and things is so perfected that it is it's gone beyond our worldly way. Then it's called Paramita. Sometimes we call it transcendental. Transcendental. Sometimes people use it. Which actually means that, say, like when we talk about Paramita of generosity, we try to develop generosity. We try to develop our power of generosity, for instance. And it is said that, I think maybe you know this story, but I like the story. Once Buddha was talking about generosity. And And there was a rich businessman in the audience. And he came up to Buddha and said, I like you. I come to your teachings often, and I like your teaching. But this generosity business is not for me. I don't want. I am businessman. Buddha said, do you mind giving it to yourself? I said, no, I have absolutely no problem giving it to myself. And Buddha said, in that case, you can actually develop generosity. He said, no, I don't want to. Buddha said, okay, if you don't mind giving it to yourself, you go home, take something a little bit valuable in your right hand, and then give it to your left hand and say, take it. And then give it back to your right hand and say, take it. You just do that. So maybe it's like a little bit like fun. He went home and he took a kind of piece of gold. He had lots of them. And he gave it to his left hand and said, take it. He knew it was given to himself, but saying take it was a little bit not so good. But then he kept on doing it. After a few days, it occurred to him, maybe I should invite Buddha for a meal. So he went to Buddha and said, would you like to come for a meal? He didn't say anything. That means he accepted. That was the way it was at that time. So he came and he made a very nice meal, and Buddha had it, and the whole family had it, and then Buddha gave a little talk, and he dedicated. So everybody was very happy. He was also very happy. And he thought, I need to do it more time. So he went again and again, asked for them to come for a meal. After some time, he thought, why don't I invite the whole community, Buddha's all the monks? Because I'm so rich, it's nothing. So he went and asked, can I invite all your Sangha for a meal? So all of them came. And then they had a nice meal, and, it was very nice. And but I gave him to talk, and, dedication, very nice. So he thought, I will do it again. So he keep on inviting more and more. Then slowly, he began to, support the whole of Buddha's Sangha. And then slowly he met, he was giving help to the poor people, building houses for the travelers who had nowhere to stay. That time there was no hotel. So there was, he made Dharamshala. That means like just stay a few days. Then he opened hospitals. He opened hospitals for the animals. And like that, he became so generous that people start to call him Ananta Pindika. Ananta Pindika means, the protector of those who doesn't have any protectors, or who doesn't have anything to eat. So therefore, that is how one can slowly develop. We can develop generosity, we can develop and train everything. And we have to do it step by step. But it is said that, however generous you become, if you don't have, or if you don't develop wisdom also together with the generosity, then it's not Paramita. It's not good. You can be very generous, but you still have lots of pride, and you still have like I'm the most generous one. Then then it's not perfect. So therefore, you need to have wisdom to make it paramita. So usually it is said that all these 6 paramitas, you need to have develop this wisdom in order to become paramita. So therefore, paramita or wisdom becomes extremely important. But paramita of wisdom is also so easy. So if we talk about wisdom, paramita, usually there is also wisdom, just wisdom, the worldly wisdom, not paramita wisdom. That is that, any knowledge, any kind of, what can you say? Anything that we learn that solves the problems of ourselves and others is also wisdom. If you know how to heal illness, so doctor, it's also wisdom. If you can, do something that is, somehow useful and helpful to people in any way, that's also wisdom, because that's know something that is good for you, that can kind of help us to solve certain problems and issues and things like that. Education or anything, also wisdom. The wisdom is not just like that kind of wisdom, that transcendental kind of wisdom. But this kind of wisdom is very good, very useful, very important, but it doesn't, it cannot kind of take us out of this samsaric state of mind. It cannot liberate us, or it cannot uproot our negative emotions. Like if we do meditation and if we do other things, practices, that can generate compassion and can generate also lessen our negative emotions and things like that. But it cannot uproot negative emotions. But what we call the transcendental wisdom, that can actually uproot our negative emotions. It can completely transform our, what can we say, our way of reacting. So that is about, truly knowing, not just intellectually, but experientially, how everything exists. What is the nature of all these phenomena, all these things, how they exist, how I am, what is it that I call being, what is my consciousness being. If you deeply, deeply understand that, that is then called the Transcendental wisdom, Paramita wisdom. And when that happens, then you become liberated from samsara and what we call like you have to get no longer in samsara, but from Buddhist point of view, you become free from samsara, cause suffering. Now that is not an easy thing to talk about and practice. But since I'm here to talk about it, I can say what is written in the books. I cannot say much about the experience. But so first, there are two things. We first try to look at things and analyze how things are. And then, look at everything, see how these things exist, and have some idea. And then after that, you look in and, you have analyzed things. That what is this? What is this? How does this exist? How does this exist? Like that. And then you say that from my point of view, from my analysis, I find this exists like this. But who is it that is deciding? That is saying that this exists, this exists. What is the nature of that? So, to understand the nature of phenomena and to understand the nature of the consciousness or awareness of the mind that says it is maybe like this. And then, now that is also a concept. I am like this. Yeah, that's another concept. So therefore that then you kind of try to not intellectually impose that philosophy, but experientially experience that experience. And if you can do that, then you have the realization. Once you have that understanding and experience, then how we actually see things, how we actually see ourselves, makes a kind of transformation. And then, we have a slightly different way of reacting to anything. That's the main purpose of this practice. First, we talk about, when we try to, of course, this is something I must mention that there are lots of books written on these things. And Buddha taught many volumes of things on this kind of things. And it's not something that, we can discuss everything in one talk, but try to make it just a little bit like understanding. When people ask me about these things, I usually kind of simplify it in 3 words. First, if you look at anything and say, what is this? This is, is this one thing or is this anything? If I look at this, it looks like one thing, but it can't be one thing. It is made of many elements, many parts, many causes, many conditions. Anything you look at is made of many causes, many conditions, many parts, many elements, and many, actually, in a way, to make it more quick, many atoms. It's made of lots of different atoms. Now, if you look at one atom, is it one thing, many things? One atom is also consists of many subatomic things. It's many things. Now, if you look at one subatomic thing, it's also can't be totally one thing. There's also its parts and its causes and conditions. And then at the end, if you look more deeply and deeply, it becomes, it's made of, even the scientists find out, it's made of energies. There's nothing, it's energy. What is energy? It's something that you can't find out. It's not there. So everything that is there in the whole world, whole universe, is like that. Look, think it is one thing, but it's many, but even many you can't totally find. And that's why everything changes, because it's not totally existing. Everything is impermanent because it's many things. It's all changing time. So therefore, there is nothing in the world which is totally existing on its own, totally one thing, totally unchanging, but everything is happening, interdependently, relatively. Everything is there, interdependently and relatively. And if you look deeply, there's nothing, one thing which can totally exist on its own and one and independent. So that idea, that way of understanding in Buddhism is called shunyata, emptiness. When we talk about emptiness, it's not that it is nothing there. It doesn't mean that nothing exists. It means that the way things are is they are in such a strange way. If you say it exists on its own, it's not correct. If you say it doesn't exist, it's not correct. They are very much there, they are very much vibrant, they are very much, they are in a relative way, in a kind of independent way. But if you look deeply, it's kind of not there. Like, for instance, long time ago, I met a scientist in Ireland. Actually, he was working in Galway University. And he was doing research on water. And he told me that, it's very strange. He said that if these two elements, hydrogen and oxygen, if these two elements put together water appears like magic. But when these two things, you take it apart, it disappears like magic. So all elements, everything in the whole universe is a little bit. So therefore, that's how the things are. That's called, this point, that's called shunyata, emptiness. But this is, that's why everything is there, but they are not existing as we think they are. Because we think everything exists truly on their own, dependently. So therefore, I feel that this I want, this I don't like, this is good, this is not good. All this is, but that's not how the things really are. But on top of that, now this I am saying that it exists. It is like, but who is me? How does me exist? Is this body me? Body is not one thing. Body is like the same thing as that. There is no one thing called body. It's totally, so many things and always changing, constantly. And then what is there besides body? The mind, we say mind. But what is mind? You look at mind. Where is mind? You have maybe kind of different cells in brain, different cells everywhere. But each cell, they're all like body and mind. So mind is also, it's nothing you can bring apart, truly existing on its own. But the awareness that we have is there. And that, can't say it's not there, it's there. But it's not there also. So therefore, what we are doing is, because of that awareness that we experience, we think this is me. This is me. And then anything that experiences by that awareness, we think that is out there. But actually, is there too. Because if this awareness is here, and then what it appears is out there, it's not like that. This awareness itself experiences all these things. That's not true. But we think, we feel, we grasp that that's true. There's me, and there's my experience. Because of that, then I try to see everything as, that and me and I and others. And I kind of, I'm there somewhere. And this, my experience is out there. And this is nice experience, so I like it. I want it. I run after that. Some experience I don't like, so I try to get rid of it. I don't want it. I run over there. And we are running. No, but there's no way to get it. It's actually nothing there. And that's what we are. We are in, that's what we call the, delusion. The deluded state. But if you really understood how this is, how we actually is. So all these experiences, that it's not necessary that I think. There's nothing here separate from all these experiences I have. So therefore, there's no duality. It's nothing separate. So if I understood this very deeply, experientially, why do I need to hate anything? Why do I need to have greed for anything? Because there's no one who's going to own these things that are. Why I need to grasp it? And I can't. There's nothing there to grasp anything. So therefore, if I completely understood this, I can be totally in peace. I can be totally, do not need to have all these negative emotions and reactions. And, I don't need to fight with anybody. I do not need to hate anybody. I do not need to, grasp at anything. I don't need to. So I become totally peaceful and completely joyful and compassionate and kind. The more I understand this true nature of myself, the less I would have this strong kind of sense of selfishness and self-centeredness. Because all the problem comes from it. So when I understand that and experience that, then I don't need to suffer too much from anything. And when that experience, true experience happens, I don't stop seeing things, I don't stop understanding things, I don't stop experiencing things. But there is no fear, no kind of negative experience, no negative emotions, no kind of no kind of what can you say, disturbance within myself. That's called peace. That's called nirvana. That's called. So therefore, when that happens, then only thing one can experience is kindness and compassion to yourself and everyone else, and totally peace and joy. So the more we have that, then all the other paramitas are perfected. And then Buddha. And this is, from Buddhist point of view, every being has the capacity to actually actualize this, because that's their true nature. That's their true nature. So therefore, everybody has Buddha nature. That's why they say everybody has Buddha nature. Not only human beings, but every being. And sooner or later, we have to understand this, because that's what we are. So therefore, all this suffering, all this problem that we give to others and we get from others and all these kind of things is totally unnecessary. So this is, the more we understand this little, the more we can have some peace, and we can have more compassion, and we can be more undisturbable, So that's the practice. And for that, we need to understand. We need to first understand. Then we need to reflect. and try to experience this slowly, and then we need to actualize this. So it's not easily because we have so much habitual tendency of now this me and this others and myself. That it is not easy, but it is possible. That's the understanding. Wisdom. So that's it. Well, any questions?
And intellectually, the understanding of, reality and non-reality and duality, and all that, I understand it on an intellectual level, and there can be glimpses of everything not being solid, but I kind of feel I'm stuck at that bit.
That's where all of us are stuck. Yes. And that's, theoretically have an idea of understanding. It's not so difficult. But practically, that is very difficult. We have been reacting not in this way, but in the usual samsaric way, all through the, life and life. So therefore, we kind of, it's very difficult for us to, it's a little bit like, addiction, We have addiction for something. And then even if we know that it's not good for us, it's not like this, we can't let go. So therefore, in the same way, kind of, the way we are habitually reacting, things like that, is so deep that it's very difficult. That's why we kind of little understanding what we get. Then we use, our mindfulness to kind of get our, what can you say, slowly habituated with that way of seeing. We kind of, again and again, remind ourselves of this understanding. And then kind of make it more clear. And then we also allow our mind to relax and, let our mind be. Because usually our mind is always very running all the time, doing something. We actually never really allow ourselves to completely relax and be. The more we can be without having to run, do something, then it is more likely that we have, to find that I can be okay without doing anything. I can be actually better without doing anything. I don't need to find something, to achieve something, to accomplish something. If I'm just myself, it's so nice, peaceful, joyful. If you start to find that, then more and more, I think, we can. And there's awareness, there's kind of understanding, and then you know that actually you don't need to always grasp it. So this is a kind of practice, but it is it is not something that will get.
Rinpoche, does one person need to experience realization of wisdom in order to achieve real bodhicitta? Or can bodhicitta also be an intellectual experience first, and then over time develop into more transcendental side of bodhicitta?
Now, if you somehow get this experience of wisdom, then other thing automatically happens. But it's easier for us to have this bodhicitta like compassion, So we should first do that. We try to, this is how the general practice is to look at us, to kind of to think, what is it that I want? What is it that is the most important thing that I like, what I want? And if you look deeply into us, you might find that actually I want to be free from all problems and pain and suffering, all kind of disturbances. I don't want that. I don't want negative things. I don't want suffering. I don't want and I want complete like happiness, joy, I want complete well-being, and I want that for all the time. Yeah, everybody wants that. Now, if you look a little bit more deeply, it's not I want it. Almost everybody wants it. Yeah, everybody wants to be free. Everybody doesn't want it. And everybody wants to enjoy all the good things. Everybody wants that also. Yeah? So then, if that is what everybody wants, I want that. I should not say that I want. I want that everybody should have everything they want. Yeah? If I can get that, that will be the best thing. There can't be more better kind of project, you can call it if you like, than that I and everybody should have lasting peace, happiness, and no problem. Yeah. So then I say that, okay, that I want. I would like to bring that, the best thing for everybody, forever. And whether it takes a long time, whether it takes lots of difficulties, whatever, I would try to work towards that. If somebody says this, and you have bodhicitta, compassion. Now, more you understand this, that I can actually have that experience within myself by recognizing or realizing the nature. Then it becomes much more clear that this is not just imagination, it is something possibility. Because if I can really kind of experience this wisdom, then I could be totally free. I could be totally well and totally free from everything. And if I can be like that, everybody can. So that makes me more, what can you say? That that everybody can actually attain this lasting peace and happiness becomes not just a kind of wish, but more a reality. That makes us to really work towards that. And then the wisdom enhances the compassion, and compassion inspires the wisdom. And then, wisdom and compassion together, they say that like the two wings of a bird can make you fly.
Just one question. His Holiness the Dalai Lama, which like this, he says that ultimately nothing exists.
Oh,
His Holiness the Dalai Lama, I read recently, he said that ultimately nothing exists, but relatively everything exists, but interdependently. So if everything is interdependent, things aren't independent. So where does the will come into that? Like, is the will, if the will is interdependent, it's not autonomous. So where does practice come into that? Like Shantideva says that the illusory sentient being traverses the illusory path, the illusory enlightenment. Is that what he means? That what I'm talking about the will, like if everything is interdependent, is the whole process of walking, how does that fit into it? How do we actually practice? Is the case if everything is interdependent and everything is determined? Do you know what I mean?
interdependent is not determined.
Okay, what's the difference?
Interdependence means relative.
Related, yeah.
Relative. Interdependent doesn't mean that there's one thing existing on its own,
Yeah.
another thing existing on its own, and they are dependent. It's not that. Interdependence means, it's totally different. Interdependent is like right and left. You have a right and then left. Yeah. But if you have no right, is there left?
Yeah.
Yeah. You can't have left without right. No, right is just. So in the same way, everything is existing relatively. Like for instance, we say like this. How heavy is this? This is maybe like there is there are some places there have this exhibitions and things like that. You have to say how much. If you say right, you get a. I'm not very good at it. It's more than 1 kilogram. 1.5 kilograms. So I said this is 1.5 kilogram. Or I weighed it's 1.5 kilogram. Yeah?
Yeah.
So we think this is 1.5 kilograms. Yeah. But is it really 1.5 kilogram? It's true, objective, weight is 1.5 kilogram. Because if you take it in the space, how much it will? Because if you go in higher, even we can kind of float, So it becomes weightless, no? So the weight is not because of this. Weight is because of the gravitation, yeah? And that's relative. We think it has its weight, but actually it's everything else. So relative is like that. Relative is interrelated. Will is another thing. Will is that I want, what I want, what I think, This is, like, I want to practice. Like, I want to learn something. Then I can study, and I will learn. Yeah. I want to learn how to drive a car. Then you go and practice driving a car, and then you will learn how to drive a car. That's your will, is it?
Yeah, but what I was asking is basically around a roundabout way, what's the Buddhist view on the will? Is there free will, or is will determined? Is what I wanted to ask. That's kind of what I was trying to say.
It's not just one way. I mean, free will means like whatever I want, it will happen. That's not like that.
Yeah.
No, whatever I want, maybe it doesn't happen. Like, for instance, this is actually coming from the theory of karma. Your question is coming from the theory of karma, I think.
Yeah.
The karma is not, this is always asked because they don't understand karma at all. Then this question comes up. Karma is not predetermined. Karma is never predetermined. Otherwise, it would not be karma. Karma is actually action. Yeah. If it is depend on your action, then how it can be predetermined. The karma is like, I'm now what I am. Is this, I am now this at this moment is my karma. This you can see what you see is my karmic body. Yeah. I was not always like this, I once was also 60 kilos only.
Yeah.
But then I was traveling in the West, and too much, what you call it, what you eat after the
Dessert.
I eat too much dessert. It's all because of you. I lived in India till 40. I was 60 kilos only from the age of whenever I first weighed, 16, 17, till 40. I was never 1 kilo up, 1 kilo down, always 60 kilos. The first time I came to the West, for 3 months, I gained 5 kilos. And next time, 10. And then I became like a pear. So this is, I say it's because of you. This is my doing. If I was not so good at eating, and a little bit more good at walking, that's, but now I'm like this, yeah. It's because of 35 years of, all kind of aches and all kind of things, Now, if I want to be tomorrow like 60 kilos, that's not possible. However much will I have. Yeah. But if I really want to become a little bit less, I think I can do it. Because in 21 I was here. I came after the COVID. I came to Europe, and I was not only fat, but I was also crooked. walking like this. And then some of my friends says, "Oh, it's totally finished. You must do something." And somebody took me to their home and employed, this, somebody who worked on me, massaged and make me walk and things like that. And within 2 weeks, I was straightened. And then within about 2 months, I lost 10 kilos just by walking. I didn't do any dieting. I hate dieting. It's not possible for me to diet. And also, this not eating is what?
Fasting.
Fasting, yeah.
Fasting is like I would rather die. What's the use of torturing myself because I can live a little bit longer? It's the same thing. Anyway, that's beside the point. So if I really did some walking, just walking, I could reduce at least 10, 15 kilos, So is it free will?
What I'm trying to say, in your case, like the weight that you put on was due to coming to the West and eating our diet. In my case, it was due to habitual patterns.
Yeah,
So
but it's the same thing.
But what I'm trying to say, if it's habitual patterns, is there any room for choice? Is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah,
I think there is.
habit is habit. Your habit,
Yeah.
You can break your habit.
Yeah.
If you really want, you can break your habit.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah, but it is not easy.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's another story. If you really want, you can break your habit also. So everything can be, but it's not. You cannot change the past. Yeah, I can say that now all this 35 years of all these what do you call it, sweet things I eat is gone. It can't be gone. But I can for the future I can. Yeah. But if I want to become blonde girl tomorrow, that's a little difficult. I have to die and be born again.
Rinpoche, what you're saying is one is able to break through one's habitual pattern. So within the mind, by observing.
Habitual pattern?
Yeah.
Habitual pattern is, yes, it's like if I have a habit, an habitual pattern, then if I know that this is not it, this is something I need to change, and then I'm make it very clear, very determined that I will change that. Then I have to work on it, I have to become mindful that every time this kind of habitual tendency comes up, I catch it with my mindfulness, and then I say, this is not what I should do. This is not how I will allow myself to react in the right way. And then if I can do it again and again and again, long enough, it could slowly change.
Yeah.
But it is not easy, That's what we call practice.
I have a question.
Your idea is basically to say material both doesn't exist and exists. You know, when you say you go down to molecules and atoms, and then you go to subatom parts like electrons and so on, and then you go even further down like quarks, and at quark levels, material or mass and energy is indistinguishable. It's the same. So it doesn't exist. But then you say change. Change implies time. Does it both exist and doesn't exist?
Yeah, time is also relative. Huh? Time is a relative thing. You know, time is not
Related to what?
like, you know, when you say past, what is the past?
The time which happened before.
That happened before. And then future is
Which will happen in the future for
so
the time to come.
so what is the between?
The present.
Present. So present, this moment is past,
Yes.
and next is so where is the present? Huh?
Right now,
So how long is present?
it's a point. Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't have a dimension as such.
Yeah. So the time is also relative. It's difficult to say this is the time. We kind of say this is today and this is today. But you know, today is yesterday was today. Yesterday.
Yeah.
You know, today is today, and tomorrow today is tomorrow. Yeah? And it's so all this is like that. Everything is like that. It's not that it is not there, but it's there in a relative. It's there in a, you know.
Is that true?
Yeah. It's there, but not really. You know, that's why it's very difficult to say exactly. You know, you can't explain it because it's you know, that's how it's a very strange way. So that's why it is said that, you know, it's actually that's why it's like that. You know, it's in a kind of miraculous way. You know. There was somebody, yeah.
It's a general question.
Okay.
How might one discern love and attachment?
How?
Love and attachment. Discern love and attachment.
How to define?
Discern.
So what's the difference between love and attachment? It's easy to talk about the difference, but not so easy to experience the difference. You know? Generally, love is wishing well. You know, you're kind of wanting, you know, loving somebody else. You know, that's a love. You know, it's not concerned about you. You wanting happiness, good, wonderful things to that person. That's love. Huh? Now, attachment is more me. Yeah. I like this, I love this person because, you know, but I love this person if he does this, or she does this to me. If he loves me, I love him. If he doesn't love me, I hate him. You know, then it's attachment. Attachment is more me. Me is more important than that person, than it is attachment. And that person is the welfare of that person is more important than its love. Yeah. But there's for most of our samsaric people, it's very mixed. So we have love, but we have also attachment. And then that's why always problem. If there was no attachment, there would be no problem.
Yeah.
No relationship problem. But because of too much this together, then we have always problem. So that's the whole point. So ideally, if we have love more and attachment little less, then would be better. But that's not easy.
How do you experience life now?
How do I experience life now?
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
I'm here, I have a nice lunch, nice dinner, and with all my friends. I am fantastic. I'm on holiday all through the year. It's true. And also I'm very lucky. I can sleep any place, anytime. I can eat anything, anytime. That makes me a good traveler.
Yes.
And then I have friends everywhere, you know. So I am better than anybody. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good.